We start this episode with a quick recap.
For you, Captain?
Well, actually, we're just going to call up Starfleet and
What's your
have our
assessment of
performance
recent
assessed.
The
There you go.
Enterprise
Hello,
responded
Admiral
to a distress
Williams.
call from Merton Station. Good work there, Picard.
See,
Without
we
your
got
efforts,
good
this
work.
could have been a real
That was my goal for this
You saved
playthrough, to
hundreds
get,
of lives,
high
kept the
marks from
station
Starfleet,
operational,
be
and
the goody
even managed to
two-shoes
save the experimental
throughout.
power
There you
core.
go. That's what Picard does,
Shall
right?
I go on?
Shall I go on?
Please do.
Nope.
No, thank you.
Hi, I'm the Space Quest historian. Welcome back to Star Trek TNG, A Final Unity with Joe Mastriani of the Upper Memory Block podcast. Hi, Joe.
I am here again.
Yes, we'll just pretend that we went away for a week and came back. Hi, it's good to see you again.
Oh yes, it's a totally different day. Everything's changed.
Yeah.
I'm wearing different clothes.
Yeah, me too. I just, I have tons of identical shirts.
Yep, me too.
Shinnok, we have several
And here we have, we finally arrived at the Vulcan archaeologist who knows something about the fifth scroll. One thing I quite liked about the game is that you go on these different missions, like the Mertens Orbital Station mission, and later on we go to this Morassia planet that everyone seems to hate for some reason. But they all sort of tie into this grand overarching plot with the fifth scroll and the Unity device and all that. They find some sort of common thread.
In my search,
so
there's no real true side quests.
Not really. No, it's all even the Morassia mission, which we will go on in this episode, which is why this episode is longer than all the others.
Of your stature to such a remote planet?
Somehow ties into the bigger plot. It's very tangential, and I for the longest time I thought, okay, well this mission has nothing to do with the Unity device and the gradients and all this shit, but they actually find a reason at the end of it.
But I
Right.
I'm rambling a lot.
So here's no, that's fine. So here's a good example actually of the kind of inconsistency in art style. So you see this guy here looks really good, and they've animated his face very well. He looks like he's almost
a great deal,
modeled motion, not quite motion capture. He looks a little weird for that, but the background's high quality, his model's high quality, but then you go back to the the intro to the game,
intriguing,
and the Geridian Warbird captain looks super cartoony, right?
Yeah.
It's just sort of very inconsistent in that way.
Yeah, and we had a conversation with our Admiral friend earlier, and she was also a digitized character, and this guy I think is a digitized character. They sort of rotoscoped over him.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Oh, oh.
I'm afraid we have got some bad news for you, Shinnok.
Good old Shinnok.
Good old
has been
Shinnok.
attacked.
And he actually says live long and prosper.
Indeed.
When you get done talking with him. But anyway, what he's actually telling us right now is you can't go down to the site. Actually, he's going to do that now. So I don't have to explain it for him.
Down immediately.
Captain, I'm aware of your.
Well, I mean, because this is Picard, right? He's an aficionado of
the excavation is part
of archaeology, so
my apologies.
Yeah, I mean he's got the history thing down, he's got the legal thing down, he's got the archaeology thing down. He just likes digging in shit.
He's a Renaissance man.
I should like to consider
and he
the
loves
situation a
Shakespeare.
bit further.
I love that you always have the option of just going back on patrol.
I've always wondered what happens if you just fuck off and decide not to do any of the missions. Does the game just sort of happen?
I'm sorry.
Without you?
Shinnok's artifacts were in
I don't know. It's
destroyed
interesting.
section
It's
of the
like, we'll just go
station,
patrol the
as
neutral
were
zone.
many
Oh, this is
other
happening.
relics
Yeah,
we
but
were
we
analyzing.
really do need to patrol
Thank
the
you
neutral
again for your
zone.
efforts.
Like
But I'm
we
afraid
actually
we're rather
came here to
busy.
do something.
There's
Shouldn't we
much
go
work
and
to
do it?
to recover from this disaster.
I'm also kind of interested in that they can actually phone this guy up, even though he's now many light years away. I don't know how that works technically.
On screen.
Right.
Greetings,
I mean,
Admiral.
it's got to
What can
bounce
we do
off
for
a
you?
couple of satellites and stuff. Oh,
good to see you
here we go.
again.
Here's a
I
different
have a little
admiral.
favor to
There's a
ask.
different admiral.
Would you be interested in finding a
This is
little
one of those
lost lamb
parts of the
for
game,
me?
which is kind of weird, which is that these missions just sort of happen to you.
Figure of speech.
Like
It's like there's a
I
timer.
have a friend
there is
stationed on
exactly there is a
Morassia,
timer.
an
Mertens happened
exobiologist.
while I was dicking
haven't
around
heard
with the
from her in
astrogation
quite a
chart. It just sort
while.
of
I'm
boom.
getting
Now
a
the game
little
decides.
worried.
Oh, by the way, Mertens is going
I'd
to
like you to
explode.
check into it if
And
you
this
can.
guy only shows up like a little like a few moments after you've talked to Shinnok, and Shinnok just gives you like the flat, no, please don't stay away. Sorry.
Yeah, basically, like if you just went with Shinnok and nothing else happened, you'd have to just go back on patrol or do whatever.
Local authorities investigate
Like it's basically a wall because he's like, nope, nothing, go away.
Yep. And then, thankfully, later he fucks off and does something else, so you can poke around his shit.
He said I should send a team to investigate.
Now, they
Admiral,
went
you have any
out of their
reason to
way
suspect
to
foul
make
play?
some funky names for this mission in particular.
He is headstrong, but she might be chasing butterflies.
I kind of get the sense that each of the missions were sort of.
And
it's like they delegated out the design of each mission. Some of them are very straightforward, like the one we just had, and then this one gets kind of weird. It's you know, we're about to go traipsing around a jungle planet with people with names like Lixie, spelled with 2 L's, 2 capital L's, no less.
It's like Star Wars names.
Yeah. Oh, not to get sidetracked, but what was George Lucas smoking when he came up with the names for the in the prequels?
Understood, sir.
I have no idea.
That was, I mean, Count Dooku. How can you not make fun of that? I mean, my inner 13-year-old is just crying out to start shouting Dooku names.
Oh, Count Dookie.
Oh, good old Count Dookie. Anyway, off we go into the big black yonder.
I don't. So this is this is interesting. So now I guess so we're going to Morassia because we have to find this exobiologist.
Yeah.
And you have to see. This is very nice. I like this. This is like a very kind of show, but see, it's almost like the shading is better. Like it just looks nice.
And the model they did for the Enterprise is fabulous. You get to see it up close a couple of times.
An exobiologist stationed
fantastic.
for the past 2 years.
Oh, super well done. But yeah, so you know they're going to find this exobiologist, and like, how much of a jerk do you have to be to like get in trouble to the point where they have to send like a frickin' starship with 1,000 people on it to come and look for you?
Yeah. Well, you're doing this admiral like a personal favor. Apparently, they don't really specify it, but it kind of sounds like he has a thing going with her. And hello,
we have come to investigate the disappearance
Cartoon
of
Monkey Man.
Cartoon Monkey Woman.
Welcome to Morassia.
Or woman, sorry, my
As
bad.
I told Admiral Redrick,
It's hard to tell.
don't think
I don't
Dr.
think
Hunforsh
get
is
in
in
trouble.
any
Oh, you know
She's
the
probably on
women
an
have
extended field
red
trip.
and blue faces, and the men have blue and
We'll
red
need
faces.
your beam down coordinates.
Yes.
I shall transmit them. And Captain. In order
You heard it
to
here
protect
first,
the
ladies and
animals in
gentlemen.
the
There you
preserve,
go.
This
we
man
need
has read
no
every
weapons
textbook
of
in
any
the
kind
world.
I
on
just
the
made that up.
surface.
That's not accurate.
Out-of-weight teams carry
Though that's sort of a
favorites
callback to
for
that
self-defense
original series
only. They can be
episodes where the
locked on
guys
a
are
low
black and
stun
white, but on
setting. I
different
assure
sides
you
of
none
the
of your
face, so they're
animals
totally
will be
different.
harmed.
I'm sorry, Captain. I won't allow
Truth be
it.
told, I've never
We
actually
cannot
seen
predict
TOS.
how
I've
even your
I've got
lowest
it in
setting
my
will
library,
affect our
and my
animals.
wife has promised she'll watch it with me because it's from the 60s, so she can get over her sort of I hate Star Trek even though I've never seen it kind of thing.
Right.
For a
Because then it's
male,
sort of
you are
pastiche kind
unusually
of thing.
cooperative.
But I've never actually we haven't gotten around to it. Haven't seen any
Forgive
TOS
me,
episodes.
Captain. I am not accustomed to seeing
Season
a
1 and
male
2,
in command.
awesome.
I will
Season
await
3
your
has
investigators.
some good episodes, but it also has the worst ones. Okay, so here
Okay.
you've changed the
Captain Picard,
difficulty
please
level.
report to the transporter
Yeah,
room.
I have because I wanted to bring
Lieutenant
because
Commander Data.
he sets
Please
this up like,
report to the
okay, Commander
transporter
Riker will
room.
join you on the away team, or you'll meet with this person.
Counselor Troy.
No, wait, that's a
please
different
report
mission.
to the
Sorry, what am I getting
transporter
on?
room.
Anyway, this planet has this sort of matriarchal society
Dr.
where
Crusher,
the characters
please
will only
report
talk
to
to you
the
if you're a
transporter
woman.
room.
So, of course, I decided to, beam the captain down just to see if I could sort of strong-arm them into having a conversation
But I'm in charge.
with a male. And you can't. And in fact, this is something I hadn't tried the first time I played this game, or the first many times I tried to play it, is that
Visitors for Constable
if you go up
Lixie.
and try to talk
Constable Lixie
with
is present.
Constable Lixie here, which it does automatically, the first character you selected.
I'm Captain
Hello, I'm the
Picard
captain,
of
and
Federation Starship
I'm,
Enterprise.
big
We have
charge in
come to
command and such.
investigate
She
the
will
disappearance of
completely
Dr. Hunforsh.
blow you off.
Welcome to Morassia. As it turns out, I'm conducting a little investigation of my own.
Why
I'm curious
Why
to
does
know
the Federation
why
allow so many male
Federation
officers? That's
allows so
awesome.
many male
And every
officers.
character on this planet
Doesn't
will
it
do
cause
that, and it
morale
never
problems?
occurs. Because if you play
Perhaps you would like to
I was
discuss
going to say
Dr.
entertainment
Hunforsh's
level. If you play on
disappearance
ensign,
Oh,
then
don't
the game
yourself
selects
about
the
that.
away team for you.
Now,
So I think it
seriously,
puts
how do you
it
handle
puts Counselor
discipline
Troy in
without a strong
charge?
matriarchy behind you?
I guess that would make
don't think
sense.
I'll get
Yeah,
any
because I guess you
because
only have three options for women. You have Crusher, you have Troy, and you have like a generic ensign female. which I think is actually one of the development team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
those two random people are I think the portraits are just the dev team, two people from the dev team.
Yeah, you've got a male and a female ensign that you can take along on missions, and the ensign level will actually stick you with some of the the ensigns, presumably so you can get them killed. Like when sorry, my mouth just went all. When we were on Mertens and that little thing was hovering and sucking out energy, if you get too close to it, it'll zap you. And they actually, the characters have health meters and such. You can actually get people killed. Another way that you can irrevocably fuck up in this game. Right. So that's why you bring along the the ensigns. So you can try out dangerous shit.
Yeah. See, and actually, when you do go back and watch TOS, that's when you sort of. That's really an original series trope. Like TNG wasn't quite as bad for getting random crew members killed, but yeah, TOS. There's one episode. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it has like the highest, red shirt death count. And I'm sure everyone's yelling the name of the episode at me right now, and I watched it like a little while ago. Yeah, it's bad. There's like 7 or 8, or like it's horrible.
Are any of them rock slides? I seem to remember they're very fond in TOS of rock slides. That's one of the.
I believe that there may well have been a rock slide.
The Federation's requests are not law here.
And interestingly, although none of the characters on this planet will talk to the male officers, they will happily converse with Data. Because even though
Data presents as male, but he is in theory sexless, right?
I don't know, because one of the episodes I watched last night was The Naked Now, the second episode, the awful one, which has the even more awful line, I am programmed in multiple techniques and such, so he's some dumbass actually fashioned him with male genitalia, but apparently it doesn't matter, because he's an android and therefore not truly male or female. I don't know.
Right. And so this one particular screen, for some reason, whenever I think of the game, I always remember this screen, and I'm not sure why. And it's all the perspective on this. I'd like to get a game artist's sort of view on that screen, because the perspective is super weird.
Yeah, and that's funny. Me too. That's the screen that I think of as well, and the amount of horseshit that you have to go through. Because people are right. This is the dullest mission in the game, and it's the second mission you go on, and this is probably where we're going to lose every viewer, because you spend so much time in this lab
just scanning crap,
just scanning dead things. But that
for some reason I had this thought that this mission came later in the game. I don't know why. Like before I replayed it, I remember this being much later on, but
it's not that it's a difficult section, it's just tedious, because briefly what has happened is that this lost lamb that we've been sent to find, V. Hunforsch,
there's been a massive computer fragmentation.
It's just the most nonsensical name ever. Is not actually gone. There's been some sort of very Star Trekian clash between her and one of the what's his face?
Channels open.
It's one of the male dudes on the planet who's in charge of importing animals, and he's been mistagging animals because he's a dick that way, and he's in cahoots with this Ferengi character who's going to show up later. Oh, by the way, yeah. I accidentally had Picard chat this Healer Zola's person, and she's now gonna shove him in a little sensory deprivation tank and feed him bugs and shit because he's a male. What? He's not gonna care. Yeah, liverwurst.
That's awesome. Oh Lord.
And I've never seen this dialogue before, so that's why I kept it in the playthrough. This only happens if you take along male officers on this mission.
A most tempting offer, but I must regret.
Now he sort of backs out of the situation.
Yeah, in a very Picardian way. Just doing this. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I said Healer Zolas. This is Tracker Melas.
I'm Lieutenant
which
Commander
is
Data
evident because
Starship
she has a
Enterprise.
doggy
I'm
nose kind
investigating
of
the
thing.
absence of Dr. Hunforsch.
Greetings.
But anyway,
I doubt that she is in any danger.
Yeah, so like you
She's
said,
probably just
they'll
taking a
talk to
vacation
Data
after
just
her
fine.
blow-up with Constable Lixie.
Oh, and there's a lot. Okay, so the constable and the doctor. And the constable was the ape.
Yes,
person
right at the beginning there.
Yep.
Dr. Hoonforsh discovered that several
And they've
animals
sort of
from
had
Alan's
a
second shipment were
controversy
illegal
of
species which had
sorts,
been
where
mistagged.
apparently
I
Dr.
think she
Hoonforsh
accused the
is from
constable of
Starfleet,
smuggling, but I'm
and
not
she's
sure.
there to sort of facilitate them,
Killer Zolas
you know,
told me
getting
the story.
into their petitioning for membership. But then she runs across, you know,
experienced an
mistagged
energy
animals
drain
and
within
illegally
its
imported
neural
species from
pathways.
Romulan space and all of this shit, and she goes
untagged,
out
but
and
appeared
tries
to
to
be a
solve all
mole
of
of
this
some sort.
and be a good Starfleet officer,
Probably a
and now she's
myoid
missing
mole. They're
conveniently.
quite common on Morassia,
Very convenient. It's
but
like,
I've never heard of one
she stepped
dying
into
like this
something.
before.
And it's one of those. Usually in Star Trek episodes, it's like they arrive somewhere and something has very obviously gone wrong, and people are lying their asses off, and no one on the entire planet they're visiting is going, that doesn't seem
None
right
that I
now,
know
does it?
of.
It takes
But
these
perhaps the
spandex-wearing
myoid got caught in
assholes
one
to
of the
show up
generator power
before
circuits.
someone actually
But
tries
then
to
it
look
wouldn't
into
be drained
shit.
of energy.
Oh, this isn't right.
I don't know.
Oh, so this is the most tedious part of the entire game, if you ask me, and I cut most of it out. Well, if you have to walk around with these little biopes or whatever the hell they are, these little funky robots, and you extract samples from them, because one of the creatures, I'm spoiling this for the viewers, one of the creatures that have gotten loose during a power outage, a recent power outage, is a creature that's first of all invisible, and second of all sucks the neural energy out of everyone.
Right.
So now we've gone the long way around and walked out to this biotope and actually found the creature, but we don't know that we found the creature until we scan all of these little bottles.
All the little sample bottle thingies.
And I said I cut out a lot of this, and I do mean a lot, because there are 3 bio screens, and there are like 4 areas of each bioscreen that you have to send this little dumbass robot out to collect. And you have to collect samples of each of these. It's like you end up with 10 or 12 samples or something. Then you have to go back and scan them. And you have to do all of that because that triggers this conversation. They won't actually... They won't get on with the plot until you've done all the busy work.
And this, you know, if this were an episode of the show, they would kind of just go and do this off screen and then come back and say, yeah, we've done the scanning and blah, 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 and this is what we found. But because this is a game and they wanted to make it longer.
Yeah, or they wanted to put you in the shoes of a Starfleet officer. I mean, most of the... let's say, if you watch a procedural, like a crime drama, and you know, someone says, well, we called this university and we looked through the fingerprint database and we did all this DNA testing and all that. That all happens off screen because the actual calling up people and fingerprint testing and all that shit is really, really tedious. So you don't want to see them go off and actually do it. But here, you kind of have to.
Why are you so opposed to the Federation?
So yeah, I got, and you know, that's sort of one of the downfalls of you know, converting TV shows to games and stuff. Because you know, in a TV show, you want things to move along, and you don't want tedium, and you don't want you're not going to show people doing mundane things. But in a game, it's kind of like, well, you know, you sort of have to put it as part of the puzzle and solve the puzzle and. Like, you know, solving a puzzle on TV would be very dull to watch.
Yeah. Although I have to give this part credit because I mean it is a slowly evolving mystery, and while there's a lot of dialogue, it does you know, unfold in the right manner. You speak to one person who says one thing, and then you speak to this dickhead right here, who turns out to be the one who's actually kidnapped Dr. V, and you know, has her tied up in the background, but you can't see that. And he's in cahoots with this Ferengi shithead. The mystery kind of unfolds as it should. You really, I mean, if you give a shit by this point with all the, you know, biopes and testing and all of this nonsense, if you actually give a shit about the plot, it unfolds in a very satisfying manner, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's cool. It's just, yeah, I guess the irritating part is all the wandering around and taking samples and walking back and analyzing samples. And,
yeah, and it's very early on in the game, and I think, I mean, most people who play this game say that it has a slow start, and
yeah,
I would go so far as to say it has a very, very quick start, you know, with the first ship combat and all that, and then it just takes very, very, you know, sort of downward curve. And I think the part they talk about with the game having a slow start is actually this part.
Yes.
Because the Merton station is over pretty quickly, but people view that as kind of a tutorial mission. And then this is like the real first mission, like the real first mission, and it's tedious as all fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I have to give the game a little bit of credit here in that, you know, the voice acting throughout the whole game is pretty well done, and even here where there's a lot of talking and a lot of back and forth, the voice acting is well done. It doesn't seem hurried. Everyone, you know, seems like they're in character. And if I had to read all of this, because this game only came on CD, you know, there was no text-only version of this. So you know, if I had to read all this, I think it'd be horrible. I'd probably give up. But you know, the fact that I'm actually listening to, you know, Marina Sirtis and Patrick Stewart and Spiner and, you know, whoever this guy is talking, you know, I think that makes it bearable.
Oh, and incidentally, this bit of dialogue I didn't know about either. This is the first time I've ever seen this one. If you talk to him with Deanna Troi, he just goes, "Wait, how are you reading my mind? Oh my god!" You can talk to him with a bunch of other characters, but no, that only happens with it. And yes, I completely agree. I mean, the reason why I wanted to play this in the first part was that, you know, Patrick Stewart and Brent Spiner and all the rest of the cast were in it and had lent their voices.
Yeah, I mean, this is as close as you get to, so, like, I sort of consider this to be like a lost episode of Next Generation.
Yeah, and it's a big-ass episode, too. I mean, yeah. I mean, this part alone on Morassia could have been, like, a single Star Trek episode.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, and just because, like you said, it is, you know, very structured, very much like an episode or a set of episodes, and, you know, the production values are high enough and the writing is good enough to the point where people on the TNG writing staff actually have writing credits on this game. They didn't write the game, but I know they came in and they edited and blah 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 blah. So.
Yeah, and Paramount were up the, you know, Spectrum Holobyte's asses on this one. They wanted to make absolutely sure they did. They did good on this, right?
Those watchers don't know the first.
Oh, for sure, and yeah, I know there's a whole kind of backstory about how Spectrum Holobyte wanted the original Star Trek game license that came out, you know, that was put out for tender back in like 1982, but the company had literally just founded, and like the chairman dude that actually wanted the license, it cost $30,000 in 1982 to have a license to make Star Trek games, and they had just founded their company, and the dude's parents had taken out a second mortgage on their house to help him start the company, and so basically he had no money left, and his parents had no money left, and anyone who worked for the company had no money left, so they couldn't get it. And then
it's like one of those very expensive, I want the Star Trek for Christmas. Oh, you want like an action figure? No, I want the license to make it. What? Wait,
it's like, are you insane? It's like, we already mortgaged our house again, so you can start your stupid ass company. And then yeah, so it came back out for tender in '91, and that's when they got it. And he sort of did the same thing, because there was this, I guess it wasn't called like a venture capital fund, but there was this fund at the time that was part owner of the company, and he basically went to like the owner of the fund and said, I really want this, and it costs an undisclosed amount of money, and I think the guy that owned this fund was like dying at the time.
What?
Yeah, he had like, I don't know, I can't remember, he had like cancer or something, but he basically died shortly thereafter, and this was sort of like his, like his fuck you money sort of a thing. He's like, well, I'm dying and my fund's gonna go to hell, and the fund closed like very shortly thereafter after the guy died. So like, if not for this dude like that ran this fund, whose name I can't remember right now, you know, this game wouldn't exist.
That's fucked up. I did not know that.
Yeah, it really, really is.
I just love the fact that, oh, okay, what does little Timmy want for Christmas? The Star Trek license! No, you still can't have that, really. And then one, you know, old dying uncle comes along and goes, fine, here you go.
Well, and to the point where, like, in this article that I got this from, it's an old SF Gate article that I was reading, and, you know, to the point where the fund-running owner guy, was basically like, do you really need this? And he's like, yes, I need it, I want it. Like, okay.
Oh wow! So he got his wish, and I mean, they credit where credit is due. They put a shit ton of effort into this game. I mean, we were talking about, you know, that they had a lot of dialogue to read in those, you know, calling up different people, having the mystery unfold. All of this, every conversation you can have with a character that furthers the plot, every single character in the game had to go through that. I mean, all the bridge crew, because you get to pick who has this conversation, and it's not just the four that you bring bring along on the away team, you could select anyone from the bridge crew to take along on this mission. So every single character had to, you know, go through that entire dialogue tree with, oh, what's about this and what about that and what about this.
And even if that conversation goes nowhere, there still has to be a, well, can't talk to you about that.
Yeah, exactly.
And like they had to record Picard getting shot down because he's a man.
Yes, and the writers had to sit there and go, okay, what if Picard has this conversation? What if Data has this conversation? I mean, the dialogue obviously has to be different. So there's, it really boggled my mind that this game only came on a single CD because there is a shit ton of voice audio on this, not to mention the FMV clips. And the quality is not bad either. This is like 16-bit, well-produced studio quality voice acting.
We just match them
absolutely.
Up with the constable's
And
orders.
and so that sort of leads me to wonder if that's why they sort of went with the MIDI music, because they wouldn't have had enough space for like Red Book audio. For the background music.
Here's the thing. See, the music that's playing is actually also PCM audio. I mean,
so they just recorded the MIDI.
Yes.
Interesting.
That's what they did. Because I distinctly remember, because I had a Sound Blaster 16 at the time, and it had the I had the same problem as you did, getting the game to run with the Sound Blaster 16 drivers. So I had to switch to the standard 8-bit Sound Blaster drivers, and it's. And that's not MIDI music. That's actually PCM audio.
Which is so, and so that would sort of answer my question as to why there is no Roland or General MIDI option
exactly
in the installer. It's like my SC55 was sitting there, and I'm like, oh, this is 95. I'll be able to use my SC55, and it'll be awesome. I love using it. I love seeing the little screen light up. Blah blah blah. Nope, no option. Damn it.
Digital audio all the way, which is also probably why there isn't actually a shit ton of music in the game. I mean, there's very little music. They did have the foresight to put some very nice sounding music in the when you're browsing through the computers on board the Enterprise, because you will do that a lot as you're traveling from place to place.
At one point, I almost thought I was under the impression that you couldn't, that if you were talking or browsing the computer when you were traveling, the distance wouldn't actually tick down, but that's not true.
That's I had the same reservation at one point, and that's pretty much what I did when I played the game for the first time, was just read through the entire database.
Which is cool, and I like that, and a lot of Star Trek games actually have that, like this kind of data bank where you can read a lot of stuff, you know, whether it's related to the game or not.
Yeah,
it's very cool. There's I mean, I cut all of that out of this video, but there's a lot of cool information there. Oh, and apparently they just have idiots on this planet, because this guy just went to that creepy dude we talked to earlier. Just went in there and you know, had a look around, and oh, he beamed out. He's back on the Ferengi ship. They're trying to make a break for it. Where do you think he went? Oh, well, there's a girl here with a gag over her mouth. Maybe she knows. That's the one we've been looking for, you asshole. It's just like, there are two intelligent people on this planet, and it's, you know, these two ladies here.
Have you captured Idia? No. Unfortunately, he escaped
yes,
with Aramat.
the one that we were waiting for. She was just waiting behind that big bulbous communicator thing.
It's like, oh, I've been here the whole time. Did you guys need me?
The Enterprise. We will apprehend Idia and
He's set as a superhero style.
We have to recapture the Mistag Sultus. It's already killed.
I wonder what happens if you contact Enterprise and just say, beam me out. Fuck this noise. I am not chasing down a 6-foot reptile that can eat energy.
The shelter force field will not help
yeah,
us.
it is interesting, because you do have a lot of options. There's a lot of opportunities to sort of just cut and run and not finish the mission, but then do you just sort of like get into this weird like stuck state where you can't continue on the game? Like,
I'm gonna. This is fast forwarding a bit and a little bit spoilery, but at one point you have to go to this nebula where the Unity device is located, and you get the coordinates by visiting actually visiting the archaeological site where this Vulcan just turned us away. And if you don't do shit right there, or if you don't, you know, if you screw up along the way, you just sit there stuck in space.
The harmonic collector is capable of
you just can't proceed with the game.
Yeah, it's like, and then what happens? It's like, because it's weird, because it's not like, I guess it is sort of a Walking Dead situation. But can you go back and like correct yourself?
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, because that's over a decade ago since I tried doing any of that. I think there are alternate solutions to. I think if you just wait around a really long time, then Data comes up with a solution or something. I think. Oh wait! I think I read somewhere that he will suggest that you slingshot around a sun and time travel back or some shit. I want to go back and just fuck every mission up now and just see what happens.
Yeah, just see what happens, because there's so many opportunities here to get into a situation where either you purposefully say, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, or you do something wrong. And I don't ever remember messing up in this game, and I think I must have played it in like 96 or 97 when I had access to the internet, and I think even back at that time, GameFAQs was a thing. And I think I just downloaded the I found a walkthrough and I just followed it.
Yeah, I think I used a walkthrough on a couple occasions. But I think actually the reason why I didn't get just stop talking. Here's the gulping Sultus reptile that they kind of forgot to draw. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, oh crap, we need an NES sprite here.
It has a Metroid kind of sprite, but the person, the zookeeper dude who was here earlier, he said, "Oh, it's a huge ass reptile. You can't possibly miss it." And it's just this little Metroidy glowy thing.
We did it. Now, what took you so long to find me?
Because you didn't walk out from behind the thing.
Yeah,
that's what took
behind the thing.
Apparently, your absence
all we had to do was
not
look behind the
keenly
thing.
Hey, I don't need your lip, lady.
Attributed your absence to a field trip.
She was probably
you want us to leave you here?
Yeah, which they do.
I suppose
I mean, it's they
right.
They don't even go and say goodbye and say, okay, job done.
Okay,
can we have a cookie or something? When they're done talking to her, to V. Hunforce right here, they just, and our work here is done. Beam us up. And off they go.
onto the next thing.
Yeah. And the constable up in the office is just going, so they've been gone a long time. I think you do back when, V comes up in her pajamas and just goes, it's been a long ass day. Where are all the Starfleet officers? Oh, they fucked off a long time ago.
They were the ones who brought
yeah, they left. Well, we've been waiting here for 3 days.
They weren't smuggling anything.
All right, so consultant Idia,
underestimated this
which rhymes with a word that he definitely is, is now on board a Ferengi ship, and that Ferengi bastard probably has some information that we need.
And so they've known that he's escaped on this Ferengi ship for quite a while now. So
yeah,
I feel like they sort of I don't know if they should have ordered the Enterprise to go and chase them or something. It's like, what is the Ferengi ship just hanging out?
Well, we've kind of stranded the captain here, so which is not what the game will default to. But yeah, with all this running around and capturing lizard after lizard and shit, that Ferengi must be long gone by now. But as we'll see later, we just catch up to him.
A little behind schedule, but I have a few suggestions to help them speed things
right,
up.
exactly. Well, those Ferengi ships don't go too fast. It still makes me laugh. Yeah, it still makes me laugh that the Ferengi were intended to be the big, scary bad guys of TNG.
Successful attempt to locate
and they're just. I mean, I actually fell asleep watching the first TNG episode with the Ferengi showing up, and they were just these growly, nasty, ugly, monstrous kind of things. But they were also very small and kind of cute and wore fur coats.
Yeah, exactly. And they had weird whips.
Really.
No, and that's the thing. And Captain. And the TNG Ferengi are very. I don't like them. I love DS9 Ferengi.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just develop the race so much more, and they become more interesting.
Yeah, because the TNG Ferengi are just they're driven by profit. They're very single-minded. They're not actually a race as much as they're just a stereotype traversing the universe.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's just hilarious to me that anyone. Yeah, it's just I don't know either. It's just hilarious to me that anyone on the staff, thought that these would be big, scary. Oh my God, the Ferengi are here. Let's.
What are they going to do? Well, they got sharp teeth. Sharp, rubbery teeth.
Engage.
Yeah, like later season, like around season 6 or 7, I think after DS9 started, then whenever they occasionally had a Ferengi on the show, they were more appropriate, shall we say.
Yeah. Kind of more interesting. Also, we just missed the part where they actually tied this into the main plot. The soul-sucking reptile thing that we captured was actually part of the colony that the person who wrote the fifth scroll fucked off and established. That was a long-winded way to get to where we are. But anyway, yeah, it originated from a planet that the lawgiver, as
his hull is lined with a neutronium alloy.
Ostentatiously
Our
named.
sensors are unable to
penetrate. He got so disappointed with the Garidian society that he fucked off and settled on this outpost of his own and hid from society and brought along a few hundred followers or some shit. And apparently this soul-sucking animal comes from that planet. Now, there are a few questions here about why would he settle on a planet with this hordes of soul-sucking reptiles. But anyway, I'm not even.
Aye, Captain.
That's what you do if you're on the run from anything.
You can't have everything.
Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the Starship.
It's like, well, nice planet, good weather, lots of resources, soul-sucking, weird animals. We'll go with it.
An honest trader.
And here we have the honest Ferengi trader Aramis.
I think I actually posted a GIF of this.
Yeah, he has a
starbase where you will be turned over
talk,
and he's just going back and forth forever.
Captain.
Yeah, he's doing this weird kind of Stevie Wonder thing with his head.
How you
yeah,
defenseless trader. Based only upon
it is funny, like you said, they do have this is here. We have another nice, digitized character. It almost seems to me like the humans and any of the races that exist that are pre-existing are digitized.
May have been legitimate animals,
and I think they must have this is not a Ferengi that I think specifically existed on the show.
No, I think they shoved some dude in a makeup chair and said, "Get in front of this blue background, and we'll just photo you lolling your head around."
Yeah, but then you have the other aliens, even the Garidians, who are still pretty much humanoid, where they could have just made up a Romulan. They didn't. They drew them. I understand the monkey lady.
Yeah.
Fine.
Monkey lady. Yeah, but even when the Romulans show up later in the game, they're also drawn. Similarly to the Garidian one.
You do know
and they actually look a bit like early season TNG Romulans. Well lit and with these green kind of uniform things. And I think they got a little bit more sinister and darker looking in the later seasons.
Sure, we can negotiate.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think because there's later seasons. There's that whole episode where Troy goes undercover as a Romulan, and
I'd completely forgotten about that. I can't wait to see that one again. Which is I'll get to that in like a month or something.
My freedom.
I believe that one's Face of the Enemy. I think TNG is the only one where I can really name a lot of episodes.
Mr. Data, transmit the
That's pretty good. I can name most Red Dwarf episodes.
To his new quarters.
Oh, there you go. Everyone's got something.
All right,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
You've got a deal.
All right, so we have captured Idia. Apparently they weren't as good friends as they thought.
I mean, it's a Ferengi, right? They've got a price, and it's probably not that high.
And also, some questions arise about how he even got in contact with this animal, because this is a world of refugees who have hidden their planet so no one can find them, and this asshole somehow comes into contact with them, and they trade a bunch of animals. Why would they do business with a Ferengi? Maybe they've just never seen them before and just went, that's a nice testicle head you've got. You look like a friendly person. Here, have some animals. Here, have this soul-sucking reptile. We don't really want it. You can have it.
Just take it away. Take it away. We'd rather you have it than we have it.
But it's really weird, because then you go and visit these, we'll get to that in the next episode. You actually go and visit these refugee followers who've been hiding for hundreds of years. And one of the lines is, apart from Aramis, we haven't had any contact with outsiders. So he's the only person who's ever found them.
You, Captain.
How the hell did he do that?
This has been very entertaining.
Yeah, who knows?
I do have other customers.
And he's a shrewd businessman, so he won't reveal his his sources.
Let him go.
His strategies.
Except he just did.
There we go.
He just ratted them out because we pointed a phaser at him.
The animals which Dr. Hoon
Oh, there we go. So now we know that they actually came from Shinosho Epsilon. I'm bad at Roman numerals. Maybe that's 6.
That's
I don't
5.
know.
That's 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to look at that report
And we were
soon,
talking about the voice acting being very, very good and professionally studio recorded. The sole exception I feel is poor Jonathan Frakes, whom they put in front of the microphone but accidentally had his back turned to it or something. He's
or something, or he was like, "Oh, sorry, guy, the studio's broken today. You're going to record in the bathroom."
Something like that. Because there's something off about his voice. And we are about to come up on the end of this episode.
Engage.
Oh.
As opposed to the Star Trek theme playing, the Space Quest Historian theme plays.
That'll do too.
So in the next episode, we go and visit these poor refugees who have stayed hidden, except they sometimes like to get down and jiggy with a Ferengi, but who knows, whatever. So this time I will be sure to say goodbye, Joe.
Goodbye.